Hey, what's happening guys? Today I am showing you how to make keto tortillas with just over 1 net carb a piece. These tortillas are so incredibly easy to make. They're made with just almond flour and a few other ingredients, so they're gluten-free and they're sugar-free. And honestly, I think they are the perfect vehicle to make some keto fajitas with or keto tacos with. That being said, let's jump right into things, make some low-carb tortillas.
So the first thing we're going to get out is our food scale and a food processor. We're actually just going to be adding all 6 of our ingredients to the processor and mixing them in there. So the first ingredient we're going to add to the processor, and this is actually the base of today's keto tortilla recipe, is blanched almond flour. And we're going to add a cup, which is 112 grams of it for today's recipe. So when we've taken care of that, the next ingredient we're going to add is xanthan gum. And xanthan gum is the key to making these keto tortillas bendable and flexible. If you don't have xanthan gum, you could probably substitute it with Guar Gum or Psyllium Husk, but you'll definitely want to add one of these ingredients for today's low carb keto tortillas, preferably the xanthan gum. So having said that, we'll be adding a tablespoon or 8 grams of it for today's recipe. Once we've added that, the next thing we'll want to add is a half a teaspoon or 2 grams of baking powder and a nice bit of salt as well. So that's actually all the dry ingredients we'll need for our keto tortillas. And the only wet ingredients we'll be adding is 1 large egg and a tablespoon or 15 grams of water. Now that we've got all of our ingredients added to our food processor, we're all set to screw it onto the base, pop the lid onto it, and start mixing all those ingredients together. And actually mixing everything isn't going to take very long at all. It will only take about 10 seconds for a ball of dough to form in there. And when it does, we'll want to get out some plastic wrap the ball of dough with it, and then we're going to gently knead the dough for just about a minute or 2. So after we've done that, we're going to let the dough rest for about 15 minutes just to let the xanthan gum work its magic a little bit and make the tortillas super pliable. After that amount of time passes, we can unwrap the dough, add it to our food scale, and equally divide it into 4 smaller balls of dough. Once we've taken care of that, we want to get out some parchment paper, add one of the balls of dough to it, and then cover it with another sheet of parchment paper. Now we're going to smush the dough with our hands until it's flat, and then at this point we're going to get out a rolling pin and work the dough out with the pin until it's about as thick as a penny and at least 5 inches long and 5 inches wide. We're actually going to be using a small bowl to shape our keto tortilla. So what I like to do to make sure that I've pressed the dough out enough is use the bowl to make sure that there's more dough than bowl. Once there is more dough than bowl, that's when we can remove the top layer of parchment paper, coat the bowl with baking spray, place it on top of the dough, and then use a knife to trace around the edges of the bowl to form our keto tortilla shell. Then when we've done that, we can peel the extra dough away from the dish, and we'll want to save all that extra dough to make a 5th tortilla out of later on. So basically at this point, you'll want to repeat everything we just did until you've made 5 keto tortillas out of all the dough. So when you've made all the tortillas, that's when you want to get out a non-stick pan, turn the stove up to high, and get the pan super hot.
Now this next part is extremely important because these tortillas cook incredibly fast. So if you want perfect, bendable, flexible keto tortillas, make sure you follow my cooking instructions to the T.
When you add the tortilla to the pan, it will have a yellowish hue to it. But as it cooks, you'll notice that it turns much lighter in color, almost white. So when the tortilla turns this lighter color, and I'm talking the entire tortilla, not just part of it, that's when you want to flip it. And after you flip it, you want to use something I call the 5-second flip rule. So just count to 5 slowly and then immediately remove it from the pan. And this is really just to ensure that you don't overcook the tortilla. Then all you have to do is repeat the same process 4 more times, and you should end up with 5 soft and pliable low carb keto tortillas that look something like this. As always, for more information about how to make these keto tortillas or the macros for each one, check out the video description below, and I hope you like them.